Hello. I've come to this very beautiful place in God's creation to ask you to do something really beautiful for some special people who now find themselves in a very ugly situation. I'd like to ask you to stand on your knees with the persecuted church. Please make a commitment to pray every day for those who now find themselves in harm's way simply because they believe in God. These are amazing people who are persevering in spite of tremendous persecution. These are people that are worthy of our love. These are people who are certainly worthy of our prayers. These are people who are experiencing a very bad day. You remember Jesus experienced a bad day. Whenever he was crucified, it was a Friday, the darkest, the worst day in the history of the world. But Sunday came, and when Sunday came, everything got a whole lot better. But for many of our brothers and sisters in Christ, God's forever family, it's still a very dark Friday. They're paying a very high price for their Christianity. In places like Ukraine and Nigeria and the Bible lands, this world under the control, that bloody grip of ISIS, uh, our brothers and sisters are suffering mightily. In Ukraine, our Christian family, many of them have lost their homes, many of them have lost their jobs, many of them have lost their life savings, some have lost their places of worship, and a few have even lost their lives. It was just a few weeks ago that I was visiting with some of my friends in Ukraine, and one of my brothers in Christ gave me this ugly piece of shrapnel. This came from a bomb that blew up right beside the church building where they were trying to worship their God. So in Ukraine, it's a very dark day still for some really, really wonderful people. And we need to be praying for these people to help them make it from Friday to Sunday where everything is a whole lot better. Things are so bad in some parts of eastern Ukraine now that there is actually more religious freedom in Russia than it is for them in Ukraine. Of course, it's also a dark Friday in other places. In Nigeria, our brethren are paying such a tremendous price for their belief in God. The terror group Boko Haram, a bunch of maniacs, they're rampaging through the northern territory of that country, and they're burning down villages and church buildings, and they're actually killing Christians because these Christians continue to serve Jesus rather than Muhammad. You remember also it's in that region of the world where over 200 girls were kidnapped, stolen from their families simply because they wanted to get an education. And these girls are still in captivity. It's a very dark time in parts of Nigeria. In the Bible lands also, it's a very dark time for many of them. It's a very bad Friday as they are under great persecution from this Islamic radical group ISIS. And you've seen the news. You know some of the horrific things that have been happening to really good people in that land. So they're in desperate circumstances. It's a very dark time for them. And our privilege as the children of God is to help pray them from this dark Friday to a Sunday of celebration of victory where everything is much, much better for them. You see, we Christians, we have a wall around us here in America protecting us. Now, you've seen the news, you know that some parts of that wall seem to be crumbling now, but thanks to the grace of God and the American soldier, we are basically still protected. We have our religious freedoms. And we that are so blessed, we that are so protected, aren't we obligated to pray for those who have no protection, who have no freedoms, who have no wall? And our prayers coming together can help build a wall that will help keep them safe, which will help bring about an end to the persecution, which will again help them get out of Friday and make it with the rest of us to a Sunday of victory. Think about it this way for a moment. You remember Jesus tells a story about a man who is beaten by robbers, and he finds himself in a ditch, nearly dead. Well, the persecuted church, these are special, precious people. Many of them, through no fault of their own, simply because they want to serve God, they're now in a ditch of persecution. Bad things are happening to them. And we dare not be this generation's priest and Levite who are content to pass by on the other side. Jesus is in that ditch with our brethren in harm's way. And he expects us to go there and to do what we can do to lift them up and to put them in a better place where there is Sunday, where there is salvation, where there's good news for all. I want to beg you again to remember the persecuted church in your prayers, to stand with them on your knees. They're certainly worthy of that, aren't they? I think about this waterfall behind me, and it's so beautiful, and it's somewhat small, but it's really powerful, and it just keeps on flowing. It just keeps on coming and hitting those rocks below. And because of its persistence, it's now breaking open those rocks. It's now destroying some of them. And our prayers can be like this waterfall. Think of your prayer, my prayer, as drops of water, and we all come together. Thousands of Americans, thousands of Christians praying, and we come together, and we're a mighty force. We're a torrent, and we're washing away the evil. We're washing away the persecution, and we're breaking the backs, if you will, of those who are enemies of the cross. And that needs to be our prayer, doesn't it? That the enemies of Jesus, the enemies of his people, ultimately either be defeated or they be converted to Christ. Believe in the power of prayer. Believe that it could be your prayer that opens up the cages and allows those girls to go back home to their parents. Believe that it could be your prayer that ends the violence in Ukraine. Believe that it could be your prayer that helps our brothers and sisters in Nigeria to get some of their church buildings back, and that would end the insanity in the world of ISIS. Believe in your prayer that it could be what you say to God that helps our brethren in harm's way get out of those pits, get out of that dark Friday, and make it all the way to Sunday. I've been knowing and loving a lot of these persecuted brothers and sisters in Christ for over 20 years. They're amazing people. They're continuing to be strong and faithful in spite of the price they're paying. And I just want to encourage you to love these good folks. Pray for them. Don't forget about them. You may not get to meet them in this life, but you'll see them in heaven. And you'll know that when the history of this particular moment was written, that it will record that you did what you could do, that you helped them to build their wall with prayer, that you helped man your post, that you loved them, that you made a difference, that you helped them get from Friday to Sunday. I love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a blessing to the persecuted church. And remember, church, Sunday is coming. It really is.